Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Wednesday night, 6 p.m. We're back again. I don't know if you've been here with me before or not. I'm going to grab my paper. Hold on a second. We're never perfect, so we're kind of a mess sometimes, and we're kind of not a mess sometimes, and that's fine. That's how life is, especially right now. The world is insane. Absolutely pardon me, absolutely crazy. I almost made one slip out there, and, it's hard not to sometimes with all the craziness that's going on. Um, so if you haven't been here with me before, I am actually live on Instagram right now too, and Facebook, and Zoom. So if you're ever interested in doing interacting with me a little bit more on Zoom, you're more welcome to do that as well. It's easier for me being a one-man band to do it more webinar style and not be able to really interact as well with everybody. So thanks for joining me again. I'm going to go through a little bit of what this is all about, why we do it, how it helps. So really, everything I do in here is try to help you understand in a very safe environment how you can see the world just a little bit differently. See it from a different perspective, right? Because so often we're stuck in our own little patterns or thought processes that we've gained along the way as children, and we feel like we're stuck with them. We're like, man, so and so taught me this a long time ago, and it just must be true. And then, my whole thing is now, like, you don't have to take anybody, not a single person on the planet. You have to take anybody's word for anything, because guess what? We have the internet. So if you don't believe somebody or it doesn't seem right, well, guess what? You can go and look, and that's the coolest part about it. So don't believe anything anybody tells you. Go out and try to find out on your own and explore it and research it and dig on it and see what you can find out about it. But don't take anybody's word for it. I mean, Christ, it's not 1800. You don't believe Bob down the street and whatever he says, and that's the way it is. Like, that's craziness. Um, so we're all about play. We're all about safety. It's all about helping you get past some hurdles in the way you see life, and really, like, the smaller you can get to self, the smaller you can get to just who you are and finding out who you are before the world told you who they wanted you to be. And that's the most challenging thing, because before we could even realize what was happening as a child, we let the world tell us who we were supposed to be. And our parents do the best they can with what they know. We do the best we can with what we know, and then you just keep building on that your whole life. You're just like the seed in the beginning, and like, you're going to learn whatever you learn, and then you're going to keep adding to it, and that's just the way life is. But it doesn't mean that you can't go backwards. It doesn't mean that you can't go back to like a thought process. They do cognitive behavioral therapy, where you can go back and process the information, or relive the experience and try to rationalize it better. And realize, I heard this on a video the other day when it was amazing. Really interesting way of looking at it is that memory that you're holding on to that bothers you, that's still you back there, right? It's the 13-year-old self, or the 5-year-old self, or the 7-year-old self that is remembering this thing, and it still wants you to come back and help it understand why it's still there and how to get out of that situation and rationalize what's happening. Because when you were 7, you had no idea how to get out of that situation, but you at 30 or you at 40 have so much more insight and so much more information that you can go back and go, hey, 7-year-old self, it's cool, man. Like, we did the best we could with what we had and what we knew, but we don't have to hold on to that anymore. We can let that go, and we can move ahead. Now we can become ourselves and just become more you. Because the one thing I've learned about this whole journey, this 13 years of doing whatever the hell I want, when I want, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you, because you're going to get there anyways. Time's going to pass no matter what. And you might as well be doing something you love, and you might as well be doing something to help humanity or build something cool. So if you're stagnant and not sure what you really want to do with yourself, just start something. And if you do it for 6 months and you don't like it, then stop. But if you like it, keep going. And that's all it really comes down to, is just picking something and going with it. So, but find your you back. That's the biggest thing I've learned, is that the farther along I go down this journey, you don't change. You become a different person, or what you feel is a different person. But all that really happens, and it blows me away every time, because I get further and further and further down this. The only thing that I realize is all you do is become more you. You just strip away all this crap, all this shit that you've been given or told was the right way, and you get all the way back to the truth. You get back to honesty. You get back to going, you know what? All that really is real is what I feel is real, and science is real, and what we can discover on our own and taste and touch and feel. But in the grand scheme of it, we don't know where the hell we came from. We don't know why we're really here. So you're just trying to find your path back. You're trying to find what makes you happy. You're trying to find some sort of purpose. And really the purpose is just, the way I look at purpose is that everything that I've built, everything that I've done for 30 years of my life, when I look back, the reason I do it isn't because of me, isn't because of you, isn't because of a single person on this entire planet. The reason I do what I do is for all the people that aren't born yet, that aren't even here yet. I'll never even meet these people. That's why I do what I do. And you know what? That gives you so much more of a purpose, because it gets rid of all the bullshit. It gets rid of all the fake stuff. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about fortune. It's not about all of this stuff. It's about unified consciousness. It's about doing it for the good of humanity. That's why we do things. So if you feel lost right now, or you feel stuck and you can't figure out why the hell you're even here anymore, maybe look past yourself and get out of this egocentric feeling of like, what can I do for myself? What do I get out of this? And figure out, what can you do to help other people, right? As they always say, you only keep what you give. So if you're trying to get something, get a feeling. Don't buy a stupid thing that has literally no meaning to it whatsoever. Do it because you want to do it to help other people and make the world better. That's what unified consciousness is. That's what we're doing this as a collective whole, to help each other, right? So if you're trying to find a path that helps other people, even if you don't make money right away. Like, I haven't made hardly anything in a decade. But you know what? I wake up every day just as excited as I was the first day I started, because I know I'm doing it for the right reason. And that's what matters the most. So let's go into a little bit of game rules, what we're going to do tonight, because everything we do in here, even though it seems silly, like, what, I'm just going to a few different blocks and touching a few different things. But it's more than that, because you're looking at it as a silly little game that you're playing that you feel funny doing or whatever. But it's more than that, because you're focusing on your safety and what you're capable of doing or handling outside there. Because you have to be comfortable with yourself and comfortable with the people that you're living with and surrounded by before you can really find out who you really are. And that's getting rid of the fear or the feeling of embarrassment, and realizing that you have to be you no matter what, and no matter what anybody else thinks about you. And when you can get rid of that, that's when you become you. That's when you can let go and strip away all of this crap, all of this stuff you've been layering on top of you because so-and-so said so, and Bob down the street said I shouldn't do this, and Mom said I should never do this, and I'm terrible about that. Well, you know what? How the hell do you know what you're good at if all you do is listen to everybody else's shit? So what you really need to do is find something that you love and do it as long as you can for your reason, right? And I'm telling you, the best reason to do anything is to help other people. Honestly, that is the best way, and the best reason to do anything is because other people, and help them. Because you want to nurture creativity, watch somebody struggle, right? I said this in the past in the different videos. If you really want to try and realize how hard something is, grab a chair later tonight or right now or whatever, and set a chair down and sit next to the chair. And your only objective is to sit into the chair, to go from the floor to sitting in the chair. That's your only job. However, there's one thing you cannot do, and I'm going to make a rule that you can't change. You're going to go from sitting on the floor to sitting in the chair, but your feet cannot touch the floor at all. All right? It's as simple as that. It's one task to go from sitting on the floor to sitting in a chair without letting your feet touch the floor. And if you're trying that, or you're watching somebody else try that, and you're realizing that, holy cow, they're really having a hard time at this, and you don't feel something inside, that's empathy. You feel that? That's empathy. Because you're watching another human struggle. You're watching another animal of your own species struggle. And that's your job, is to go, how can I help that person create a better way to get up into that chair? Because there's millions and millions of people that do it every day because they don't have their legs. And you're trying it for a minute or 30 seconds or 5 minutes. And you know what? There's people that live like that all day long, every day. That's what you have to realize. That's why we do things for other people. That's why we heal and help other people. That's what our purpose is for that reason. So if you're struggling, trying to find something that makes you feel excited to do, or wake up out of bed and be excited to build and work on and jump out of bed and have any sort of purpose, do it for other people. That's the easiest answer I can possibly give you, is that if you're going to build something, build it to help other people. Build it to take the struggle away from some other demographic of people. And then life gets so much sweeter, because you just keep collecting that feeling. You collect that feeling of what makes you feel good about what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? All right, so let's go into a little bit of the rules. So everything in here is about safety, because we can't play, our brain won't let us play unless we feel safe. So if there's people watching you, whether they're family or friends or a spouse or a partner or whoever, and they're watching you play this game and you're acting silly, and you're struggling, and you're moving around, and you're embarrassed by what you look like to the person watching you, it's because you don't feel safe. And I want to make sure you be careful with this one, because if you might want to reflect on this later, if you go to do something weird or silly or move around to accomplish the task I'm going to give you tonight, and you don't feel safe doing it, you might want to question who you're living with. And that could be anybody. Or it could be that, or it could just be the fact that you feel embarrassed in front of your own family. And that's a whole other thing. And that's why this works, because why not train yourself? Why not get to the point where you feel so comfortable acting silly and playing and being like obnoxious and whatever in front of your own family, in front of your kids, in front of your spouse? Because our brain won't let us do something completely obnoxious and weird and unplanned or unpredicted unless we feel completely safe in the environment that we're living in or that we're in, right? So an example, I'd have this, like the cube here set up at a health fair, and someone will come in and like, it just looks like a box with balls and strings in it, right? And they're going, well, this doesn't look like anything. And they'll get in there and they're like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, well, you're moving by yourself in a completely randomized way in front of 12 people. You have no idea who they are. So in front of 12 strangers, you're dancing by yourself. So is it hard to do? No, it's very simple. You're just touching reds and blues with your hands. The problem is that you're embarrassed by what you look like while you're moving around inside of this thing, or in your house on the floor with the targets around you, right? That's what you're experiencing. It's not that it's hard. It's incredibly simple. It's ridiculously, absurdly simple. The challenge that makes it hard is that you're embarrassed. And that's a whole other topic we're going to go a little bit deeper in a little bit later, all right? So what you need is some objects. I have these cool colored blocks. It's really exciting. We're getting to the point now where we're going to start production. So we're going to start creating kits and card decks that'll have rules and stuff that you can play with random objects. Right now I have blocks around me. All you need is 4 or 5 random objects. It could be shoes, shoe boxes, toilet paper rolls, toys, it doesn't matter. All you're trying to do is create something to touch. That's it. You're going from point A to point B to point C to point D in whatever way that you possibly want to get there. All right, so the rule to remember, the phrase to remember this entire time is that there are no rules, rights or wrong ways to play, and you can do anything you want. All I'm going to do is give you something to use, like your elbow, and something to touch, like this block. And as we go, I'm going to increase the levels to go, level 1 is 1 touch point to the block. Level 2, or that's without restriction. So level 1 would be 1 elbow to touch, but your right foot can't touch the floor. So now you're trying to keep your 1 foot off the floor, and you're going to use 1 thing to touch with. All right? So it's as simple as that. It's the most basic, ridiculously simple thing of take your body and move to that spot. However you want, doesn't matter. Okay? It's completely your game. All right? Being on the floor is safety, because whether you're a flat earther or not, I can't help you with that part, but you can't fall off the earth. So that's why babies start off down here, is because we can't fall off of this thing, right? It's our safety spot. So now we've taken our body away from having to stand and balance and do these things and being safe, completely safe on the floor. Okay? So now that we have safety, we can now move however the hell we want to these objects, right? So level 2 would be 1 touch point, 2 things you can't use, and level 3 would be 1 touch point and 3 things you can't use. All right? So you're remembering what you can't use and you're remembering what you can use. All right? The rest is really up to you, because it's your job of self-awareness to know if something hurts and to back out of it. It's your job to know how you feel in yourself. Are you embarrassed? Are you having fun? How do you feel? Check in with yourself. When you're playing this, it's very simple. It's incredibly, insanely simple. But the challenge comes from how you feel about you. And my job here is to try to help you find your you back, right? How do you feel about you? Can you find the you back that was you before all of society and all of everybody else's opinions that you kept taking on yourself and became somebody else, right? Can you find your you back? That's what this is all about. It's all about finding your you, all right? So safety is important. The people that are around you are important. They're all important to find flow or to find play and allow your brain to just let go and not worry about anything else other than just accomplishing a simple little task without worrying what anybody else thinks about you, right? That's what all of this is about. All right, so safety is important, all right? Take your time, move as slow or as fast as you want, touch as many things as you want, touch as many objects of the same ones over and over again as you want. That's completely up to you, all right? So, all right, so let's do just a little bit of a warm up. Put your objects out around you. They can be, the fun part about this, it's your math. So if you want them this close or this far apart, or one up high and one down low, or one clear across the room, guess what? I don't care. That's your job. That's your game. You play it how you want to play it. That's really what it comes down to. All right? So place your objects around you, and then I'm going to pick one thing, whether it's your foot or your knee or your elbow or your head or your nose or ear or whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to tell you to go around the space, and that's what you're going to touch your object with. All right? And then each time you go around, I'm going to tell you something you can't use the next time you go and do the same thing, right? So if you want to do any research on this, it is backed in lots and lots of research. It's the block game is based in constraint-induced movement therapy, so CIMT. It's used in stroke therapy to help people with their upper extremities. So like they say their right arm was affected by the stroke and is now not quite functional anymore, and their left arm is functional. They take the left arm and put a glove on it or put it in a sling, and they have you try to do as many things with this other hand as possible. So it's that struggle that we grow from. That's where the neuroplasticity comes from. That's where the challenge, we grow through struggle, we grow through challenge, right? We're all experiencing that right now with the pandemic, that you're growing yourself right now. You're becoming a better you because of what's happening. Even though it sucks, well, guess what? Struggle and suffering suck. But it's the only way we get better. It's the only way we get stronger. We get stronger through the suck, all right? So let's just do a little bit of warm up. So let's use our right elbow, and you're gonna go to wherever your objects are at, all right? So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about movement here in a second. So don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Just the 4 or 5 or 6 objects you have laying around you, use your right elbow. And you're just going to go around and touch the 4 things or 5 things or 20,000 things that you have, because it's your game and nobody really cares except for you, because it's your opinion about yourself. All right. I don't care. I mean, I care that you're playing because I love it and I appreciate the support, but I'm trying to be very like matter of fact and like to the point, like this is your game and this is your game called life, because what you learn in this little box, what you learn in this little cube, what you learn in your home playing with the blocks around you correlates from this spot here to how you function out there. Can you make decisions to better yourself out there, to make life out there just a little bit easier because you saw something just a little bit differently? You made a decision just a little bit quicker because you've been playing. And allows your mind to see weird, different ways of seeing things. That's what you're doing, all right? So it isn't just a simple little game. It is a simple little game, but it has a lot of meaning to yourself and helping you at the smallest point get past your feeling of embarrassment and value how you feel about yourself and your own opinion, all right? So let's use our right elbow. Everyone go to all 4 objects or however many objects you have, okay? So here we go. All right. So if you're still moving, keep moving. There's no reason to stop. I mean, movement is life, right? Because if you can't move, you can't survive. If you don't move, you don't get food. If you don't move, you don't breathe. You're always moving, right? Whether you're moving yourself or your organs are moving, but there's always something moving on you. So you have to be able to move to survive. And the better that you can move, the better that the stronger you are, the more functional you are, the more safe you feel. Because that means if somebody came up behind you and scared you or attacked you or whatever, you could run away, right? I always ask people that question. I was like, do you feel competent enough? Do you feel strong enough or mobile enough that if something happened, you could run away? That you could run away from the threat? And the more capable you are of being able to run away from the threat, the more relaxed your mind gets. The more relaxed your mind gets, the more you can learn and grow and enjoy the beauty that's around you. But if you're incapable of movement or to protect yourself, then you're going to be more preoccupied with, am I safe? What's going to happen? Is anybody going to attack me? Can I get away if something happened? Right? So you're so preoccupied with the safety thing that you don't have a chance to appreciate the roses. Stop and smell the roses, right? All right, so let's do a level 1. So it's the same thing we just did. You're going to notice yourself as you start doing this. You might notice it in the first little movement that you did, that maybe you were moving around on your hands and knees, or maybe you were bored, or maybe you were like really rigid, right? And I call this the difference between the child brain and the adult brain. The child brain is very roly-poly. I'm like a little kid, because I am basically a little kid. If you don't really know me that well, that's pretty much what I am. I'm still about 6 years old. I'm just a grown person now. So I'm a 41-year-old, 6-year-old. And that's what's best about it, because you can be a kid your whole life and just play and live your life however the hell you want, because it's your life and there's no rules or rights and wrongs. As long as you keep climbing the mountain or whatever the hell you feel like doing, and you feel like you're some productive member of society, then who gives a flying shit what the hell you're doing or how you're doing it, right? Just take care of yourself. Don't hurt yourself or anybody else. It's pretty much as simple as that. All right, so let's do our first level 1. We're gonna use our right knee to touch with. And let's use our right knee to touch and keep our left foot off the floor. So your right knee will touch, left foot will stay off the floor, okay? So here we go. So a lot of times the only reason you're being rigid right now could be that your body's still rigid, which is totally a thing, because it's taken me 7 years to work on all this. So if you're feeling rigid, there's a very good chance you're rigid. The other reasons is because you became rigid either from not using all of your body. You became rigid because you became embarrassed to do things that kids do. If you think about this, out of how we create so many absolutely ridiculous plateaus through our entire life, like mind-bending, mind-blowing, arbitrarily nonsensical plateaus through our whole life. Because you have like, are the kids reaching their milestones from 0 to 5? You know, your kid's not walking yet, he must be broken. And then you go from 5 to 10 and they're going, oh, well, you're too old to be doing that now. You're too old to be playing with toys. You're too old to be doing this. You should be doing this, like, you should be working into adulthood by now. Well, then you get from like 10 to 16, they're like, oh, your kid's not doing that yet? Your kid's not doing that yet? And then you get past that and they're like, oh, you should be preparing for college. You're not ready for college yet? Like, what's wrong with you? And then you go, oh, you didn't go to college? You don't have a house yet? You're not married? Like, what's wrong with you? And we keep doing that back and forth our entire life, because we care more about some arbitrary bullshit plateau that society gave us that says we have to do something by a certain time or you're a shitty human being. Why? Who cares? If you want to still play with dolls when you're 10, like, who cares? Just get better dolls or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the whole thing. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, I said it. I'm sorry. But I had to say that because it matters. All right? We have to get rid of all this nonsensical crap that makes your life feel like misery because you're trying to appease some bullshit societal thing that says you should be doing it this way or not by this way. All right? So, all right, so let's do a level 1 again. So let's use our right elbow to touch with, and let's keep our right foot off the floor. Okay, so your right foot will stay off the floor, your right elbow is touching, all right? So try to let yourself go. Just like be free and roll around like a little kid, because you are a little kid. You're just bigger and uglier. I'm saying that about myself too, not just you. I promise. I can't see any of you. So if you're bigger and uglier babies, then, well, you are, because you're still a human and we're the same baby we were in the beginning. All right, nothing's really changed. It's the same thing. So I understand like how why medicine is so divided up into ages and genders and all these things. And, you know, the weird thing to me is the whole like women in medicine thing. Like, it blows my mind. Like, why don't we care about the medicine that we provide women for women, right? Like, I work with a lot of pregnancy, prenatal stuff. And it's always like, oh, you're just pregnant, you're fine. You're just pregnant, you're fine. It'll go away. It'll go away. So they really don't care. And like, I don't get that. Like, I don't understand, like, you know, why we don't care about feminine health differently than we care about male health. We don't really care about male health. I mean, what is really medicine anymore? It's more about just feeding you shit to like cover up some weird symptom that you have. And like, we really don't know why. Well, that's where my quote comes in. It's not mine. It's the one I love the most from Nikola Tesla that says, most people are sick because they forgot how to play. So you got to play. You got to let go. You got to move your body in these weird, contorted, silly ways because why are you rigid? Because you're embarrassed. Why are you rigid? Because you're worried about what everybody thinks about you. Why are you rigid? Well, your back hurts because you're rigid. Maybe it's your back hurts because you're embarrassed. Because when we're sick, scared, tired, or hurt, we bend over into a ball. And then for 20 years, you walk around like a ball and you can't figure out why your back hurts. Well, is it because your back hurts because you injured it, or is your back hurt because you're depressed or you don't feel good about yourself? And you've been like, as I think it was Emerson that said, you know, the lives of men, or no, Thoreau, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation, right? Find your reason to why, find your reason to like, for your purpose, and then stand up straight and go out and do it with courage and vitality and like, and drive because you want to do it. That's what makes you stand up and open your chest and like, go, yeah, I'm big and strong and powerful. That's what matters. Find something that makes you that happy to jump out of bed in the morning, right? That's what matters, okay? All right, so let's do a level 1 again. Let's do left knee touching and the entire right arm off the floor, okay? So your left knee will touch, your entire right arm will be off the floor, okay? I'm gonna switch mine up a little bit. If you notice you've been going the same direction the whole time, those are called patterns. We do that because, you know, if you lived in the same house for 20 years or so, you might notice that you go around the island or whatever the exact same way every single time because you created that pattern. And we do that same thing in here because the blocks and the cube and everything are just your house. It's just a different way of looking at your house. So whether you're in the kitchen and the red ball's where the sink is and the blue ball's where the stove is and the green ball's where the spices are at, but you're still just moving around, right? Just like the Lego movie, me becoming a master builder and grabbing things from all over the place and building this amazing thing because that's what you did, right? That's all you're doing in life. That's what we do to create things, is because we're just looking around what we have in our environment, in our reality, to build really cool things, to help people not struggle so much and to have a better life. That's what we're doing. You're creating, all right? Yeah. So there's an exercise I did with the lovely Sabria Dobbins. She has this thing called the Project Passport, and they are virtual retreats. And I helped her the other day. We did this virtual one. I was kind of a stand-in on a television show. And I really enjoyed it. And what I wanted to do, the one that we did that I really enjoyed was finding our North Star, finding what's important to us, right? And one way of doing that is pull up a whole list, 100 things, 100 different values that you could possibly have, okay? And out of that list, we'll say we picked 5. I want you to pick 10. 10 values that you find important to you, deep down, like heartfelt, meaningful values that are important to you, okay? And then from that 10, drop it to 5. And from 5, drop it to 3. And from 3, drop it to 1. The one most important thing that matters to you the most, and that's your North Star. And what you do is you take that thing that you decided was the most valuable thing to you as a person, not to your family, not to your boss, not to anybody else, to you as an individual. You've chosen the one thing that you value the most. And what that does is that gives you a point of reference to now focus on everything that you decide to do for your life, through your career and through your family and anything like that. And you focus your goals towards that value. And as they say in Stoicism, is that if you don't know where the ship is going, no winds are favorable, right? You have to know where you're going to set the sail to go where you're going. If not, you're just going to feel stuck, wandering laterally back and forth, floating around, banging into shit, instead of sailing off somewhere to accomplish something, right? So that's the crazy thing, is you have to know where you're going. You have to set a destination and get there, all right? So let's do a level 2. And I would say if you feel comfortable at level 1, stay at level 1. If you want to try level 2 and you find it's too much for you, go back to level 1. That's fine. It's your game. It's your self-awareness of what you're capable of physically, emotionally, and mentally with who's around you and the space that you're in, and do you feel comfortable and safe? All right. So level 2 is just one touch point and 2 things you can't use. So we'll keep it simple this time to explain it. We'll use our right elbow to touch again, and we're going to keep both feet off the floor, okay? So right elbow touches, both feet off the floor, all right? Try to find your roly-poly. Try to let go and get small. Turn into a ball. Let go of your rigidity. Let go of your stupid adult bullshit brain that tells you that you look silly or stupid, or like, you know, I've had people tell me, even that they live by themselves, that they're afraid what people will think they look like, even though they live alone and nobody can see them. So how does that affect your life? I actually have people, you can see these balls back here. I help people try to find their courage to make decisions. I help people find their ability to make a mistake and let it feel okay inside of themselves to make a mistake. And know that, you know, some mistakes cause problems. Some mistakes cause harm or not fixable. We can't take them back. But if we can practice the small decisions that don't hurt ourselves or anybody else and work on that and build that momentum up of like being comfortable and being capable of making decisions, then you can make better and quicker decisions out in the real world where it's not as safe. But you practice being safe and making decisions and being validated for what you feel like in front of your family, in front of your spouse, to yourself. I literally have people that I work with that for 30 seconds or a minute will stop like they're getting ready to jump off a cliff, jump off a 100-foot cliff. And they're like, I don't know. Like this to a colored ball, just like this. It's not doing anything. It only moves if I move it. It's not dangerous. It's not going to blow up. It doesn't have spikes coming out of it. It's not going to turn into a goopy mess. It doesn't do anything. It's a plastic ball. And if you're here in the beginning, there are no rules, rights or wrongs, and you can do anything you want. So for 30 seconds or a minute, they're terrified, absolutely paralyzed to make the decision wrong, whether they're going to touch the green ball or the yellow ball. That's what matters in here. That's what matters to you. This is what matters. This is why we do this. It seems so ridiculous and so simple, but it's not. Because we have to teach ourselves safety. We have to teach ourselves that what you're doing is okay. What you're doing is safe and fun and playful and gives you a chance to learn and grow and become more you. But you have to be safe. You have to feel safe. You have to like lock the doors in your house and go walk around and go, wow, I'm safe. Right? That's the biggest thing. That's our prime function of our nervous system, is know that we're safe. Whether we're safe in town, whether we're safe in the forest, whether we're safe in our car, whether we're safe at our home. I ask this question a lot in podcasts when I'm with like medical professionals. And the response is always really interesting when they give me this kind of dumb look of like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And I ask this question is like, you think about people that have fibromyalgia or chronic pain or a myriad of other things, and they are valid. They have them. They feel like those, and they don't know how to make them go away. But the question we don't really ask anybody is, do you feel safe in your own home? Do you feel safe with the people that are around you? And if you don't feel safe, you need to find safety. You need to understand, like, maybe how you feel in your body and your overactive nervous system and your depression or your anxiety could be the fact that you've been like hyper aroused or on edge for 20 years of your life because you can't see yourself outside of your own reality. And it's very challenging for a lot of people to be able to see outside of their own reality because we're where we're comfortable at. And our brain wants to keep us safe. It wants to protect us. So that's why the obstacle becomes the way, is because we have to push ourselves past this trauma or push ourselves past this like uneasiness of getting through the hard decision to the other side. But that's where growth happens. That's where you grow from those decisions to get better. It's because you did the hard thing. You chose to make the hard decision. Okay. All right. So let's do another level. Let's do another level 2. Let's keep both of our hands off the floor this time. So we're going to use our right knee to touch with, and our both hands will stay off the floor. Okay. Let go of the rigidity. Find your child back. Let the little kid that's inside of you right now that's going, why the hell are we doing this so boringly when we can do it this really cool, fun way that's not like a boring ass adult, and let go and find your roly-poly back. Find your way of like melting and moving and morphing and like doing all these cool things with your body because it still can. You just have to let go of the inhibitions of your thoughts and your feelings that, you know what? They're valid. Your thoughts and feelings and what you decide to do to move and not move and how you move, they're valid. I'm not saying that, right? But remember that, as they say, we suffer more in imagination than we ever do in reality, because we just keep recreating these stories that, you know what, we think are what's happening. But unless you actually ask the person that your mind is creating the story around, all it will ever be is your imagination, because you don't really know if it was ever that thing or not. I did a podcast a bunch of times with this older gentleman, and his mother always told him, he goes, you never know what's happening behind someone else's door. So all you can do is be kind and be graceful and be patient with the people that you come up to and meet, because you don't know what's going on in their life. And we have to give that patience. We have to have that for other people, because you know what? If you can't find what you want to do to build something or be creative or whatever, at least you can do is be kind to the people around you and let them figure themselves out or figure their life out any way they can. All right. So let's do another level 2. Let's do our no left knee, no right foot. Okay. No left knee, no right foot. And we'll use our head. Use your noggin. All right. So no right foot, no left knee. And you're going to use your head to touch with. Okay. So see if you can, like, as we're getting through this tonight, see if you can let go a little bit. See if you can find your play back. Be silly and, like, you know, your nose is part of your head. Touch your target with your nose. Unless it's your dirty ass shoe, then you don't want to do that either. Well, unless it's your own dirty ass shoe, then you can do that. But yeah. And really the whole thing is, if you see me, I may have like bumped something that I wasn't supposed to bump on the floor. And it's the same thing I've been saying during this whole pandemic and all the craziness in our world right now, is to remember one thing. You're doing the best you can with what you got and what you know, all right? Give yourself some grace that if you make a tiny little mistake, You've never gone through what you're going through right now, ever in your entire life. So if you make a mistake, you did the best you can with what you have. You learn from what you did, and you keep going. So most of us can walk on our own 2 feet, right? We were born that way. We can walk on our own 2 feet. What we don't remember is the 300 times that you fell and busted your ass or banged your head on something, learning how to walk. However, all of us still learned how to walk, and now we're walking, right? So you have to remember that. It's all you're going through is life is that you just never stop learning how to walk. And you bang your head on shit and you fall over and you fall down and people throw things at you and whatever, or you get a brick thrown at your face or whatever, and you just keep walking and you keep going and you keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying. And then one day you pop out and you're like, holy shit, I'm amazing. And you can walk and you can like build a business or you can like create something, right? It's your way. There's no right or wrong way to climb the mountain. As long as you get up to the mountain, you get up to the top or you get to where you're going, you're successful in your own world. Because success, what is success anyways? It's basically doing what you love to do, intentionally doing what you love to do, then you're successful. It doesn't mean how much money you have. It's saying that I want to do this thing and my intention is to do this thing. I'm going to do it the best I can. Well, then hell yeah, you're successful because you're doing exactly what you want to do, the way you want to do it, how you want to do it. That's all that matters. All right. All right, so let's do another level 2, and then we're going to move on to level 3. All right, so let's try to keep our left foot and left knee off the floor, okay? So we're going to try, basically it's our whole leg, roll left leg off the floor, minus your hip, obviously you're going to roll on that. So we're going to try to keep our left leg off the floor, and we're going to use our right elbow to touch with, okay? And we're running out of time, so if you haven't found your roly-poly yet, you haven't found your child brain that really doesn't give 2 shits about anybody else's opinion, it only worries about its own, and you really should, by this point, start finding your inner child back. Find your you back. Find this person, this 5-year-old that's lost inside of Bob and George and Susie and whoever else that's saying like this little person, this 5-year-old person that's inside of you going, let me out. Let me out. I don't know why you have me trapped in here. Why do you have me locked inside when I can come out and play? Right? You have to let go. You have to open it back up and you have to realize that there's so much out here to do that comes from you being you. And if you're scared about who you'll become by becoming successful, all you do is become more you. And the you that I'm talking about is this person that's lost inside of you. That was you from the very beginning, you from like the very smallest part of you that wants out and wants to show the world what you're truly capable of and what you can create yourself, right? So let yourself out, let the inner child out because they want out, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old they are. Like you have to let them out. Let them be them because the world is amazing and it's beautiful. And there's so much out there to see. And I can't stress it enough. Like I wish I could show you what I see. But as they say in one of the memes I really like is that the price of being able to pierce the veil is that you can't show others what you've seen. So all I can do is try to help you understand a better way or different way of living your life from a different perspective. Because there isn't a wrong way. There's your way, there's my way, and there's my suggestions of maybe a different way of looking at it or a different way of doing it. But other than that, there's no right way. There's no wrong way. You just do the best you can with what you got. All right? All right, so let's do a level 3. If you want to stay at 2, stay at 2. You want to try 3, try 3. If you want to go back to 1, try 1. If you don't want to do anything at all, then don't do anything at all. I don't care. I mean, I do because I want you to try it. Because that's what matters, is giving it a shot. All right? All right, so here we go. So let's do level 3, no feet, no left hand, right elbows touching. All right, so no feet, no left hand, right elbows touching. If you're finding your wobble, finding your roly-poly, letting your kid out, letting the child inside of you come out and play, because life is so much better when you can let the person that you locked inside of yourself in your heart out. Let them out. Why are you holding them in there? They didn't do anything wrong, right? You didn't do anything wrong. You just listened to all these other people tell you what you did was wrong, because they're afraid of what you're capable of. Because if you become capable and successful, it makes them look bad. So what do? We hold ourselves down, hold each other down, because we don't want somebody else to be more successful than we are. So then we chop other people's buildings down so ours look bigger, instead of just focusing on making ours bigger, right? That's the crabs in the bucket. If you look at our world right now in the egoistic mindset or egocentric mindset of, if one crab tries to get out of the bucket and there's only one crab in the bucket, it can grab the side of the bucket and pull itself out. But usually what happens, if you have more than one crab in the bucket, the other crabs that are down there pull the other one back in because they don't want it to escape, or they want a free ride getting out, right? Here's the thing. And that's like this whole like, oh, but that's capitalism and oh, whatever. Okay, here's the thing, is unified consciousness is us all working together for a common goal, all right? It's you going, oh, let me help you out of the bucket. Let me push you out of the bucket, right? So you escaped. So now the next crab can grab a hold of the bucket, and the crab below them pushes them out, and they get out. And it keeps going. And guess what? Because if there's one crab in the bucket, one crab can get out of the bucket on its own. So nobody is left behind because we all helped each other get back out of the bucket. All right? So we have to get back into this mindset of doing it for not the greater good, but for humanity and for the future and for the people that aren't even born yet. That's why we do this. That's why we build things. That's why we create things. Isn't for us. We got to keep the feeling of giving or in building and creating, but it's not for us. It's for everybody that isn't here yet. We have to leave something positive for them when they get here. You're like, we're our present selves protecting the future people coming in. You have to build. We can't stop here. We can't be stagnant because we're letting the future down. You are letting the future down if you're not creating something for the future, for the people that matter, for the people that need it, that aren't even here yet. They're not even born yet. All right. All right. Let's do one more movement. It's my favorite one. I like to give people to see how you react. It's technically a level 4. Do the best you can. If you want to try it, go ahead. If you don't want to try it, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to use our right elbow to touch. Actually, you know what? Let's use our left elbow. I keep using the right elbow. See, that's my pattern. So left elbow is going to touch, and we're going to keep hands and feet off the floor the whole time. Okay, so left elbow is going to touch, no hands, no feet. All right? Find your child back. You should be laughing, having fun, being silly. Even if you're by yourself, laugh at yourself. If people are around you, let them laugh at you and go, I don't really care if you laugh at me. I'm doing what I want to do. And that's how you break that feeling of embarrassment. Because if you're embarrassed by doing something silly in front of your own family, that's something you have to think about yourself. You have to reflect on that and realize why playing and being silly in front of the people that you love doesn't feel comfortable to you. And that's what you need help. That you want to seek help for that. You want to like find somebody to talk to, or like, reflect on it, journal about it, figure out what that is inside of you that makes you feel embarrassed, and try to get rid of that and try to heal that piece of you. All right. Those feelings are valid, but there's also help. There's also people that can help you feel better and try to process that information and understand why you feel those things. All right. Mental health it's not a scary thing. It's not some weird taboo that we're not supposed to talk about anymore. Or it's like this weird thing, right? You're not going to get locked up in a hospital because you need to go see a therapist about a feeling you're having, right? All right. So let's do this. So no hands, no feet, left elbows touching. Okay. Here we go. Let your child out. Be silly. All right. Hope you enjoyed that one. Hope you enjoyed tonight. It's really, I really enjoyed doing these for everybody. I hope you've enjoyed them yourself. Share them with everybody. You never know who you're going to help. You don't know if something I said at one specific little segment of this will help somebody else if they hear it. So any shares and comments and suggestions, if you have something you want me to talk about in future episodes, definitely do that. I'm more than happy to explore different things and like maybe look something up or gain information and try to help you in some way. And maybe your question you asked me helps 10 other people. And those 10 other people can pass that information along to 10 to 100 more people. So I appreciate all the support and the comments and suggestions and likes and shares. They're amazing. Find something to do to help other people. It'll make you feel that much better. It'll give you some sort of peace inside of you because you're taking that with you. All right? Cool. So if you want to get a hold of me, the website is movetherapy.org. So movetherapy.org. You can reach me by email at joe@neuralmovementtherapy.com, NEURAL, movementtherapy.com. Instagram is infinite_movements. And Facebook is Move Massage Raleigh. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Share it, pass it along. Appreciate the support. You guys have been amazing. And I'm looking forward to more and more episodes. So have a beautiful evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you. I appreciate you and you matter. So have a great evening. See you guys.